All right, continuing on. Once again, it's Thursday, May the 9th. It's Thursday, May the 9th, and we're in the middle of a career fair. We have individuals um, who are beginning the journey to follow in um, my family's footsteps and build upon what we have created. A company that an opportunity to be gainfully employed during a time where there's an economic crisis and everybody shut down the economy during COVID, and all of the other businesses are going the opposite way, and they're all um, removing direct interaction in brick and mortar, removing direct interaction with physical people. There's no more customer service. It's all everybody wants you to go online and chat. So we created a company called Break the Cycle. And we're going to our people and we're saying, we're going to pay you what you're worth to be lifesavers, to come in this country and this nation that we have built. No, we didn't come over here as slaves. No, none of the stories that they tell you is true. And we're proving it because only the original first fruits can produce the harvest. There's a rule. There's a rule in creation, going back to creation. In the beginning, during creation, God said, every seed will bring forth fruit after its own kind. No good seed can bring forth bad fruit, and no bad seed can bring forth good fruit. And every person has a birthright to the tree of life in the place where you were born. That's why they call individuals foreign aliens. Individuals that try and come and better their life at the expense of the individuals with the birthright. Somebody created a myth called chattel slavery. Somebody overseas in a third world dark age country called England, King George III, looked at a map and pointed at a map and said, the territory outside the 13 colonies is Indian country, and we are going to send governors to build colonies in Indian territory. Somebody just that's called a myth. It's called a myth. All right. So there's another text that says, you will rebuild the old waste places. You who? The first fruits are mine. The in the beginning fruit that I created when I said, you have dominion, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth and subdue it. That's not arbitrary. That's not that's the same in the beginning root family that was blessed in the beginning. I am the first and the last. I'm the beginning and the ending. That's why our company is called I.T.B. In the beginning. Break the cycle of generational curse of poverty. break the cycle of having human thoughts. Higher than man's human thoughts is God's ideal for his children. Break the cycle of lowering the bar and having human thoughts. When God said, "Come, let us reason together." So the philosophy that you've bought into, the myths and the stories, he's saying higher, higher. You've lowered the bar. You've allowed them to lower the bar. All right? And as a result, the pressure and the stress from being out of order, out of alignment. God does everything decently and in order. So when you're out of order, you're out of alignment, that pressure and stress is called the lady killer. It's called the lady killer. Why is it the lady killer? And why is heart disease the lady killer? Because Eve is a spiritual being, internal. Adam is a physical being from the earth. Once again, Eve was not created in the earth. They have inverted everything that you believe. Mother Earth. Eve was not created in the dust. Adam was. The ground does not represent the woman. Water represents the woman, says God in Job 27. The dust of the earth, God kneeled down in the dust and created man. Physical. Outside. Eve was taken from the inner soul, spirit, spiritual, internal, water. These are the laws of health that they perverted and distorted. There are 8 laws of health. Nobody does it better than we do. All right? And so what I'm about to show you here is I.T.B. break the cycle. My wife is a therapist. My son graduates this weekend, and he's going into the therapy field too. And there's trillions and trillions of dollars in not only sports therapy, but mental health. People get injuries, strokes. People get traumatic brain injuries in accidents, like our son and nephew. And so we have positioned ourselves. God has given me a vision to chart a course and be bold enough to make the investments so that we can be the leaders. He said, you should be the head and not the tail. You will lend and not borrow. It is a commandment for us to lead in all things, to be owners and kings and queens of everything we do. Joshua said, as for me and my house, anybody that's working for somebody else, I'm going to show you that's how they divided and conquered husbands and wives. When you follow God's blueprint of the individuals that were blessed, the whole family worked together. In nature, God said, look at nature. When you look at nature, the invisible becomes visible. The stuff that you want answers to will be revealed to you when you look at nature. And then, man, I'm holding you accountable. And man, you are without excuse. Man and woman, you're without excuse. When you look at nature, the lion and the lioness do not go out and work with the hyena. I'll pause and wait for y'all. Everybody who has put your faith. See, because God said this is a lack of faith. What I'm trying to get y'all to understand is this is a lack of faith issue. The poverty and the generational curse of poverty. Your enemies on earth put in a plan to break God's children and enslave you again. Why? Because he commanded you not to allow yourselves to be enslaved again. And so you cannot be rewarded with God's presence if you do not follow his commandments. He said, "It is for freedom's sake that I have set you free. Now do not be burdened again by a yoke of slavery." So they played with words and they changed the word Job, which is the highest covenant with God, to Job in the English language, Pig Latin. The all Latin languages are Pig Latin. That is the code. That is the Da Vinci Code on how to it. Pig Latin is a reversal of what they say in France, in English, in German, in Spanish. Pig Latin is the code on how to crack. It's the Da Vinci Code to how to understand exactly what is being said. So what's being said on the surface in English and in French and in German and in Spanish, and all of these are languages that have come down from Rome. Rome is the original nation that spoke Latin. Pig Latin is the code cracker. Because God said in Revelation 19 that he's coming back for those who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of the Holy Spirit. Revelation 19:10. So the enemy, the devourer, he said, "Woe, Satan is as a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour." So the enemy has a plan to devour God's children and re-enslave them. And God commanded you, do not be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. And so y'all wonder why you're impoverished. You're impoverished because you have not built your house on the rock, the principles of the rock. And it's a lack of faith issue. He said, without faith, it is impossible. It is impossible to please me. And then God said, trust in the Lord. You put your trust in an employer. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge the Holy Spirit that leads into all truth. And the Holy Spirit will direct your path. No, when these snakes say they want to employ you, then y'all go break your neck and y'all tell y'all children, "Oh, you need to go and get a job." There's no such word as job. Job is a covenant. It's a covenant. It's a covenant where God will come down from heaven and walk with you and bless you. Where God comes down and says, "Have you considered my faithful servant?" Job is a covenant of the faithful servant. There's no such word as job. And when you look in the Lion Kingdom, and when you look at nature, the one species that mates and then comes and will devour the children is the bear. It's the bear. And when you look at the mother bear, The mother bear will destroy a male bear. Because the male bear only cares about impregnating the woman. And then he could come across the same child that he fathered and he will eat the cub. And every male bear will eat the cubs. So the fiercest thing in all of nature is a mother bear with a cub. And all of y'all women round here going to work and trying to figure out da. It's because you're out of order. It's unnatural. And you have no concern for the devourer that God said, woe to the inhabitants of the earth. Because the devourer has come down to you and he knows he has but a short time. And you're advising your children to go into institutions run by the devourers. You're advising your children to go and take jobs in companies that have a history of devouring. Lack of faith. God said, if you know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more I? He said, don't even think about what you're going to eat. Don't even think about what you're going to wear. What I need you to do is be a faithful servant and think about the least of those, my brothers and sisters. Don't worry about what you're going to. He said, look at the lilies of the field. Look at the sparrow. But because you're concerned about yourself, you have blocked the blessings that God will give you when you go and do that which he told you to do. See, because the Son of God was down here on earth doing a specific work. And then after he finished his physical work, he said, my children that's going to get my Holy Spirit, they're going to finish the work in the gutters, in the highways, and the byways. They're not going to be concerned about what they're going to eat and where they're going to live, because every time they save a life, he said, I will cause you to ride upon the high places of the earth. He said, come exchange with me gold tried in the fire. See, when you go through thorns and thistles to save a life, and then you lift up that life and present that life to the Father, then he gives you the desires of your heart. You got it wrong. You can't go punch a clock and get the desires of your heart.